is up against the ropes here because we are in the lower bracket and they are one game away from potential elimination here. And that's, well, that's not a scenario that they're unfamiliar with because they've gone through the lower bracket the whole time. Do you feel like it might have an impact on the way they play, on the pressure, the added pressure that a game like this brings?
And there's always going to be pressure, right?
But,
You're one game away from elimination. I'm sure that they feel it somehow, but as we were talking about, Swindle's the type of guy who, even in these situations, is probably going to be able to motivate his team to kind of gather around, do their best, you know, give a quick huddle, the American way, USA, etc.
Besides, the crowd is just the way that Swindles likes it, too. They're all cheering for Alliance constantly. Swindles loves that. It's us against the world, guys.
You know that Complexity and Alliance, they have some similarities just because both of their leaders are like the really outspoken people on their team. And I think in a lot of ways it alleviates pressure from the other members of the group that are quieter. Like the Swedes and on Complexity, I know they're not the most talkative, but you've got a guy like Swindle who's telling you like, yeah, we can do it, and he's kind of the face of your team. So when your team does bad, almost everybody just talks about Swindles, and I think it genuinely does help his teammates. I think people really underrate that aspect of him, in that he's kind of a calming presence for the rest of his team. I know it's easy to make fun of him because sometimes he'll make statements that you think are a little bit out there, but you know, the guy always, he always tries to back it up. He genuinely thinks, he has a lot of faith in his team. He's not just going to say, oh man, our team sucks, we'd be happy with top 8. No, he's going to say, I think we're one of the best teams here. And I think it's great to play with.
Well, we have, in terms of bans, the exact same starting heroes removed as the previous game, but Alliance is going to switch it up. They're not going to let Nature's Prophet go over to Complexity.
It's the first NP game for Alliance in this tournament.
I believe it might be, but I will.
You are playing against Alliance.
Yeah.
They have picked Nature's Prophet.
That's my favorite. That's the only meme that I like.
No, they have played it once before this tournament, and they won.
Okay. 1 for 1.
Complexity had first pick, right? They grabbed the Furion first last time?
Yeah, but they did not have first pick. They grabbed Furion IO.
Furion IO, yeah.
Oh,
and it was Chen first pick for Alliance previous game. So Complexity favors Dire, while Alliance will favor first pick here. In the series.
I feel like Complexity could just go back for the Enigma again. I don't know if they're going to pick it in the first two, but they play around the hero way too well. And these type of games, you kind of want to put your team on the most reliable heroes that they have. So like, I really enjoy watching Swindle play heroes like Tide. I know he is often prone to picking stuff like Beastmaster we saw in game 1, but I feel like the way that he plays the game and his overall game sense, Tidehunter just is able to lead the team, I think, in a much better position, and having a larger impact in the fights, I think, might tip the scales in their favor.
When we saw him play Tidehunter against LGD yesterday, he played a really good game, even though he had a tough laning stage. He had a really tough laning
That's
stage.
like the Swindle game, you know? Tough laning phase, does great mid game, does great late game.
Basically, that's the story of the game for him.
Yeah.
For sure.
I remember I was talking to Slicks, who played on a Han team with him, right? The Stay Green or whatever, and he said part of the reason why he doesn't think Swindles was as successful at TI as a mid was because the mid role from what he played in Han versus what he played in Dota was, you have to play, in Han he played the initiators, versus that was like the mid farming meta, right?
Yeah.
And then now he's playing, you know, the off lane, like the do shit role, like the heroes that are just gonna run in, create space for his team, which is what he says is a little bit more natural for him.
That makes sense. I definitely agree with that. I think when you have players like Swindle on your team who are constantly making shot calls in game and such, you have to give him an appropriate hero.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's really hard as like a farming mid to dictate what's going on for your team and stuff like that. Which is why we see players like S4 again having so much success now that they can play heroes like Puck and Bat again, rather than when he was forced to pretty much like, okay, you have to learn Storm or Queen of Pain or have to play these kinds of heroes. Not that he can't, but his wheelhouse is definitely in the initiators.
Are you gonna let the Complexity have the Gyrocopter this game? There are obviously other counters, or rather pairs up with the IO still in the game. They banned out the Tiny, they banned out the Ursa. We had Complexity themselves banning out Sven last game, and now that there's a Nature's Prophet, you might have a more inclination that you wanna go for the Sven yourself?
I mean, Sven's always a possibility. At this stage, I feel like either team could actually pick it and it would be fine. Obviously, maybe more towards Complexity, because that seems to be the common answer against Furion. Everyone picks the core Sven. We saw it in the last series when it was picked up. But
Jesse's the Invoker player, right?
I believe so, yes.
I think they switched for that one specific role. Somebody told me that too.
Yeah, Chessie is like almost. I think it might be his most played hero, or it's definitely up there. He's played a ton of Invoker.
Seems like one of the few teams that were willing to run it safe lane too, just because they wanted to try to keep Limp in the tempo control role.
Yeah.
You don't want to switch things up too much, but the one thing here that I'm noticing, they banned both the
S4 bans.
It's not just that; it's like the really mobile heroes.
Yeah, they understand that Alliance's opening has the ability to control the tempo of the game from pretty much the get-go with a Fury and Shen opening. So obviously with Ench not being in the pool, there's not really many options to deal with the insane amount of mid-game that they could put together.
I think in this situation too, especially when you have like heroes like Invoker, I don't think you want to deal with two split pushers. Like, if you remember the Liquid game when they had to deal with the Queen of Pain, I think they actually ended up winning that game.
They did, yeah.
But it was so annoying because every single time they would start moving towards S4, he just like blinks away into the trees. You'd find individual pickoffs. I think that kind of benefits his playstyle the most. But you did leave the Batrider still in the pool, which I think in some ways is a lot scarier than his Queen of Pain.
You have both Nature's Prophet and Chen on Alliance. Sven is such a good pickup, I think, for Complexity at this point in time. It deals with both of those heroes really well. You have a Darkseer to pair up with it as well. I think it's a nice leading hero for the Invoker, who requires a bit of space to be able to work, kind of similar to the way Zeus works. So I really like that as a nice round-out hero for coL.
You know what I think the coolest thing right now is about when you get to the biggest difference between best of ones and best of threes is you get to see their own meta develop.
Yeah.
Like neither of these teams pick or ban Earth Spirit. They're just like, okay, that's not going to be in our either side's wheelhouse, and they kind of just figured out for themselves like what works and what doesn't. Because if they played against, for example, any team that just has a like MVP Phoenix, you'd almost just see Earth Spirit banned out every time and a different set of heroes picked out.
I mean, I think it's actually still pickable for both teams, right? Because EGM plays Earth Spirit for Alliance, and then Z-Freak would play it for Complexity.
Yeah.
So it's still actually doable. I totally agree. It's really fun watching the way that every single team kind of has their own take on what is good. And I think you guys were talking about earlier on the panel, maybe not you two in particular, but how they were saying that this patch still doesn't feel fully developed yet, like it's in its adolescence phase where teams have some idea of what's good, but they haven't really figured out the best way to accomplish those goals just yet. But
oh, I was thinking about that for a while. I don't think it's that so much, but I feel like teams have figured it out for themselves. Does that make sense? Like for all the other metas, it felt like there was just like a pre-established, this is the best thing to do. But in this patch, what makes it so fun to watch is that every team has a different idea of what is broken. Like I know Liquid has a different idea of what is broken, and so when I see a team draft, I'm thinking of it like that. From my experiences with them at bootcamp, I'll say, oh, if we were in this position, this is what we would pick. Whereas I see a completely different team will just say, oh, those heroes are bad. We're going to do this. It's really odd.
Yeah. When I was talking to the teams during the group stage, it was insane the difference of opinion that they had on each other's drafts. And like ask about a draft and they'd just be like, oh, that hero's terrible. Like, oh no, this item build is awful. And then the others, like I would talk to a third team, and that third team would be like, swear by it. They'd be like, yeah, that's the best way to go.
Except we all agreed Jakiro mid isn't a thing.
even though you lost against it, right? All right, good.
We all agree.
So we think that this patch is just be yourself.
Yeah.
Really, that's all it is.
It's so neat though. You get individual identities.
I think it's awesome. I like the fact that a patch is being played and it's not, you know, the same 20 heroes every single game. I mean, there are some consistencies. Like we've been seeing a lot of Sven, and we've been seeing a lot of Nature's Prophet attention as well. But I mean, Darkseer has only been starting to be picked a lot today.
You very likely knew that the Sven was going to be picked up by Complexity. You went for Juggernaut. You have the Warcry to deal with. I feel like that Juggernaut wasn't necessarily the strongest carry, nor needed to be picked up just yet.
But it fits their lineup.
But yes, it does have a lot of synergy within their own lineup, and I guess if that's going to be the theme of this patch, be yourself.
I don't think you could go for as Radiant. I think Gyro's kind of weird. I don't know if you could do Slark twice, especially if Darkseer's there. Anti-Mage would have been actually okay-ish.
Yeah, I don't think Complexity... Well, I guess the Invoker could go Exort, and that could give him enough push to maybe pressure the AM pick, but I do agree that AM would have been really...
Why Rubik over
really
something, say, like a Tusk?
It's an EGM hero.
Yeah, for sure.
But is it really Is this really a Rubik game?
It's good. It's better against Darkseer in lane 2, I think. The pickup is so good in the middle of Surge. I think Jerry's just comfortable playing a certain set of heroes, and you kind of have to let him do what he wants. I think if you take Tusk, you have almost no lane presence against a Darkseer.
If you're talking about lane presence against Darkseer, would Oracle not be a hero to go for, or would that be too passive for them?
I think it's too slow for them.
Too slow.
Actually, doesn't EGM also play Disruptor?
EGM plays...
I mean, he plays a lot, but I'm just saying, like, he should feel comfortable on that hero as well. I wonder if that would have been a good choice, too.
They needed something... I do kind of agree, though. Because the Rubik, the one downside of it is, it gives you better kill potential than, say, what was it, Tusk? But I don't think Rubik is the best at harassing a hero like Darkseer.
Yeah, definitely not.
Bad base attack and... or damage, I mean.
And he's better for the all-in.
Yeah. You're also not going to be a very good controlling hero when the Sven is online with his BKB.
You play Space Game though, right? At that point. Like, hopefully you have some items. Although, it seems like when Ake plays Chen, he just gets, like, shoved into playing 5.
10 seconds remaining.
I think this is definitely one of those games where Alliance are going to be relying heavily on Ake again. Although, I suppose having Bulldog's Prophet kind of takes a little bit of that pressure off because you have more mobility, you can kind of control the early game a bit better. So maybe this will be an easier game for Alliance to control the lanes. I mean, last game they still won the lanes, but this game it's potentially going to be even harder for coL.
Do you go for another farming mid then for S4 on Alliance and rely again on Chen and plus Admiral Bulldog to control the early game?
Oh.
And if so, what's left? Because
I want to go back, blast from the past, man. Give me some Dragon Knight. Let's go.
You know, I was thinking about Dragon Knight as well. Just a big tanky hero that, but Invoker would.
Yeah, he would. Well, I mean, you have like insane Dragon's Blood now. Maybe it's not super bad, but I like you said, there's not really a lot of options left.
You could take OD.
They could Zeus again.
I think OD's okay here.
Yeah, is that an S4 hero? That's my question. Like, I don't know if he wants to play it because it's not like it doesn't dictate the pace of the game.
Yeah, Zeus is okay. It does okay against Invoker mid.
But you are going to be dealing with an Earth Spirit roaming onto that mid lane.
Yeah, if you're Zeus,
that's pretty rough.
That's why you see coL ban all the mobile heroes that are difficult to gank in the mid lane. Even DP is really annoying.
Yeah, Earth Spirit Invoker, particularly if it's Quaswix Invoker, is super tough to deal with if you don't have the mobility.
I would really prefer
the
There's a DK.
Nice call, Draskell.
I'd really prefer Exort though.
Okay, instead of asking you who's gonna take this game, I want to know from you guys who is gonna take first blood.
I'm gonna say Alliance are gonna get first blood.
Why? Chen rotation?
Chen rotation, they're gonna kill the offlaner.
What about you, Cap?
I'm gonna say Complexity because Earth Spirit's a dumb hero.
Blitz.
I think S4 knows what's gonna happen mid. He's gonna avoid it. He'll play traditional safe. I think Complex or Alliance get first blood.
Okay, we'll find out who's gonna take that first blood, and of course also who is gonna take this second game. It is time for Alliance versus Complexity Game 2 with LD and Gods.
Thank you very much, Shiver. That's right, we're live here on the floor of the Mercedes-Benz Arena. Complexity Gods, they had their moments in Game 1, but it felt like they were always playing from behind after the early laning stage. This game, they've got Earth Spirit, and they got him 5th, last pick for themselves, 9th overall. I remember the days long ago when Earth Spirit was a first pick ban, but not the case anymore.
That's the value, man. You're like, alright, 10th pick, they've got no real good mids that can escape against Earth Spirit, let's do it. But it's kind of like the panelists mentioned, it's very interesting how a metagame kind of comes to exist within a series itself, and that's kind of where the Earth Spirit got mostly ignored, but we'll see.
Swindle's pleading for mercy. Alliance, unlikely to show any. If they can, they're going to close them out here, 2-0.
Showing his inner NA Dota with a bit of all chat, saying this is not a game just of Swedes. We've got a couple NA players here.
I'm still waiting on the BM pauses, though. That's when you know that Complexity are confident.
Save that for the Complexity EG rematch, maybe.
Although I will say, BM has a mixed track record here. Moon tried it earlier, and it ended up backfiring.
I mean, Bulldog, he kind of ended the game with a bit of Savage Roar by the Fountain, you know? Maybe that's...
But they haven't won the series yet. Moon won Game 1, too.
Exactly. So what I'm saying is, based on that logic, Alliance could be in for some trouble here.
Yeah, maybe Complexity will bring the pain. All right, let's get into it here. Game 2. Looking at the drafts, Gods Alliance, getting their bread and butter to open things up, the Nature's Prophet Chen. They were very limited in options for S4. They picked a really tanky mid, someone who used to be very popular in pushing strategies, especially in China, in the Dragon Knight. We'll see how it works out. They're going to contest here for the rune. Limp up on the high ground. Both teams know what's up, and it's going to be Z-Freak who starts it. A quick roll in, instant Blade Fury out from Loda.
Run to the bottom bounty rune, guys!
Race, here we go.
This is like the 100-meter
sprint
here.
Oh, they have Spirit, dude. Of course he's going to get it first.
He's not running there.
Oh, he could roll into it. I guess
Loda's got no spin. It's quite risky for him to get it.
Looks like they might get there first again. There's the roll.
Z-Freak knows what's up.
Our Spirit.
The dream.
Pretty dumb hero to quote Cap. I think that's an accurate way to say it.
And what a nice guy Captain. Swindles, the elf lane of the core, is like, no, you take it. Your early game, you can dictate kind of the flow of things better, and I like they give the bounty rune to Z-Freak to get that fast to level 2.
So he TP's top, he rolls into the river, he gets a really aggressive ward down, he then uses a double roll to secure both runes. Our Spirit already paying for himself, and now it looks like he wants to camp out mid.
We're seeing this again though. Alliance really want to give this Bulldog versus Swindles matchup. They're going to put Nature's Prophet against Darkseer, which isn't a particularly favorable matchup for the Nature's Prophet. It's okay. Like, you kind of trade farm a bit, but Darkseer in theory free farms. I think it's just Alliance looking to kind of exploit the weak laning of Swindle. Swindle, great captain drafter, but not known for his particularly strong laning.
Yeah, do keep an eye on the top lane where Io not helping out Limb, actually got a double stack off in the Dire jungle. So Complexity, very different approach here already. Not so much about items, but they are really focusing on the heavy economy. Earth Spirit, the man who's sacrificing himself here to try and set things up for the rest of the team.
And the other thing I think, going back to like Earth Spirit as a last pick, is because Earth Spirit doesn't work well as a support partner for either Io or Chen. Io doesn't have much laning presence, Chen's in the jungle. So if you pick an Earth Spirit, your safe lane farmer often struggles, which is why it kind of got ignored a bit until Complexity decided, okay, we can make it work. We'll do Io with Sven's good in the lane. He can deal with what they expected to be a Nature's Prophet, I guess. But now it's still like a Sven Io lane against a Rubik Jug. So I think this lane's still okay because Rubik's a pretty weak support in the laning stage.
So back in the day when we used to see Darkseer versus Nature's Prophet, Darkseer more often than not would get kills on him around like level 5. Has that changed with the Treant increased damage, with the extra move speed? Do you feel like this is still a Darkseer favored matchup, or is that no longer the case?
I prefer Darkseer in this matchup. He can get a lot more farm. He can tower skip. He's actually denying farm away from Bulldog using this neutral camp here in the bottom lane, and like you say, you have some kill potential even around that level 5 stage. If not kill potential, you can force Bulldog to teleport back home by just going on him, getting him low. So. And
it might not be a fair fight because there is an Invoker in the game, and he is going Exort build here for Chessie, so I know that was a question. Will it be Quaswex? Will it be Exort? Looks like it will be the Exort variety.
Yeah, that's the big question mark, is where those Sunstrikes go flying.
Z-Freak, he's moving on top here. This could be a first blood opportunity. They're going to get the spend stun to start. Sunstrike to follow it up, rolling on top of EGM. And slapping the support down. Quick first blood for Complexity. Last hit goes to Handskin. And very clean kill.
And the Earth Spirit on the rolling, his rolling boulder actually last hit the Hellbear at the big gap. There was a Radiant like neutral pull there that was going to get the Hellbear, and then he's like, nope, I'll get this as I hit the hero with the roll. Maximum efficiency coming out.
And now he's already bottom. Speaking of efficiency, they've got the double ion shell. Remember, they also have the Sunstrike available fairly soon for Chessie.
He's not in vision yet. Okay, he's going to come in. Bulldog seen him.
He does a phase boots, though. He's very fast, but they get the stun off, or the slow to start. Now going for the team down. Sunstrike coming through. That's the level 1 vacuum. Swindle's holding the skill point there and will secure the kill. Really heads up play, but Alliance back to top where they're smoked, and they're moving in. Limp into the trees. No teleport scroll. This is a sad Rogue Knight. He gets pulled back. The tether's there, though, to try and keep him alive. Again, Ake doing the damage. Limp low, not dead yet. Hanskin, bottle after bottle charge. Keeps him in fighting shape. Then the salve up. He will live to tell the tale. And it's after a smoke commitment. Alliance not able to find the early kills. Another barrage of nukes, though, from the Satyr.
TP top from Bulldog, though. He really wants
He's got the phase boots, and Limp off on his own for now. There is a tether forward. Overcharge. Maybe we'll make the difference here. Limp stays close. They're going to break the trees. Teamwork from Complexity. Great stuff.
Oh my gosh, they avoided. Like, the Aki Chen ganks were going to be what was going to fix the lanes. Alliance were having a rough laning stage. Aki with the smoke is meant to try to find kills, solve the early game problem.
Z-Freak's moving in. He wants to go on S4 here. Here comes the roll. This time it's not a connection, but still they're going to try to go to work on him. S4 does have to commit a stun, but Alliance, they'll get an objective. Tier 1 down. They may have missed on both kills, but they still get the tower gold.
I mean, it's still okay for Alliance. Like you say, they get the
another
tower,
roll mid. They keep on pressuring S4 here. Chessie out of mana, though. Can't use a spell. An angry kick from Z-Freak. Probably wishing that Chessie had a little more regen at this point.
Just getting some value out of his arcane rune there. Just getting multiple bowls in quick succession. Very low mana cost as well, so.
Aquila Invoker. It's actually upgraded it.
I've seen a few players do this, more so in the pub games, but I guess Chessie is the one who likes to go for it here. The bonus armor on your Forge Spirits when you go for a push can be very valuable, and just kind of a stat-efficient item in a lot of ways, but yeah, kind of an odd choice as far as Invokers go.
Well, we are really seeing musical lanes here. Now Ake has taken over the Dire jungle. Swindles cutting the wave bottom and calling for a gank there, but not getting it. Mid lane, EGM now camping out to protect S4. And the Earth Spirit, well, he's tried it back to base. We'll see where Z-Freak wants to go next, but Alliance have gotten some deep wards up. So they should have a better idea of where this Earth Spirit is.
Swindle is owning right now. He's the most farmed here in the game. He's getting so much right now.
He's a TPing top. Rather early rotation.
What's the play here? They know where Aki is, but a really good ward from Aki is going to spot this out, and they're trying to secure that jungle stacks. Okay, this...
Who's going to get the last hits here? Looks like it's all going to Swindles thus far. Ake, maybe got to try to grab some. Z-Freak arrives, and Lip comes for the ambush from behind. He does have a stun available. Hanskin with the tether in, the slow onto Age. Sunstrike's going to connect. Z-Freak rolls forward, they'll slap him down. Another pick off there.
Yeah, good response. Swindle's TPing just to secure a bit of the neutral stack farm and also the kill on the Chen. So overall, they recognize Sven's having a bad start and they want to try and secure him a better game because overall complexity, they don't play around Swindle. Like, Swindle doesn't need to have a great early game because he is that tempo controller. They need to have the farm on Limp as well as Chessie.
Yeah, Swindles with a significant edge here. Z-Freak rolling across the river. He plants down an Observer Ward, and as it's nighttime, this will not be scouted. Really eking out every extra bit of advantage that the Earth Spirit brings to the table. We saw it at level 1, we're seeing it again now.
Z-Freak's just insane. This guy has been the MVP player for complexity throughout this tournament.
S4 is in biz, he's level 6, he goes with the Dragon Tail to start, but reinforcements are arriving and Alliance gotta turn and run. Breathe fire, S4 committing further. It's only a level 1 stun on Limp, not too much damage here. He's actually taking the 2 points in Warcry, not just maxing the cleave straight away like we see on many Svens.
Yeah, it does give you a fairly, slightly shorter cooldown against, like, you maybe need that lower cooldown to deal with the Jug Blade Fury.
I guess you look at the way it scales, you get double the bonus armor for the second point, and then after that it's only 50% more. So it's a pseudo value point, but the speed's the same.
Well, and the funny thing is the level 2 Warcry has the exact same cooldown as level 3 Blade Fury right now, so in theory you could always have Warcry up to try and run away from the Blade Fury Sven if he goes in and gets aggressive. But
dead even game here when it comes to gold, but if you look at the experience department, that's where complexity have a big lead as they look for a pick off here. Bottom lane, again it's Z-Freak making the move forward. Swindle in support, he backs him back. The Bulldog likely to go down again. One last swing will finish him off.
And this is where the lack of...
Earth Spirit 1-0 and 3, and that's not even counting the wards that he's managed to plant down, is actually going to see EGM dropping a ward mid.
Yeah, the lack of mobility for like a hero like Dragon Knight is what's kind of costing Alliance here. Even like a TP in from S4 doesn't necessarily set up a counting gank. He's reliant on getting off the stun.
So it looks like Swindle's cutting the wave. Z-Freak in position. He's almost got magnetized. Man, that's a farmed Earth Spirit. Arcane Boots are up. Orb of Venom at the ready. Already level 6. This guy's basically a core.
And they've also got a mech now. 8 minutes in, they're ready to dive this one. I have to be somewhat wary that Loader can TP in with Omni Slash. He's got plenty of mana, a Mango in hand, so that's Blade Fury and Omni Slash mana.
I'll give you one guess. Who's got a haste turn right now? Too late. It's S4.
Damn it, LD.
That should have taken you like a quarter of a second.
Man.
Come on.
Gotta give me more time on these ones. Like, that wasn't fair.
He's trying to set up here. They do have the Nature's Prophet ult. He's going to stun Hanskin off in the Dire Jungle, but the quick reaction might be enough to net a kill the other way. God, strength, no, S4, a bit too tanky. In fact, he's going in. Oh, the Earth Spirit kick just off the mark. He turns, but Limp alive for now. EGM comes in, only a level 2 Fade Bolt. S4 creating space while the mid lane gets pressured by Bulldog. There's going to be another Sunstrike here in 5, but it's not enough to get the kill on its own. Are they going to look to cut S4 off? The Haster actually has ward off. They've got a Cold Snap at the ready. Need to lock him in position. Z-Freak rolls forward. This will be a big kill, and they're going to completely change on S4. They punish the Dragon. Well, in the end, doesn't actually use the ultimate to damage a tower. Sort of like a Shadow Shaman in that way, where you normally want to see some chip damage whenever it gets popped.
Soaks up like a lot of the complexity aggression. They had to commit kind of 3 or 4 heroes around him there. So even though it looks like a DK for an IO, the farm that like Alliance get across the board for that still at least make it an alright exchange for them.
And it seems, I think they know there's a ward here now. There was a ping coming out, but it's close to expiration.
Yeah, they've got so much value out of that ward. Still not looking like Alliance are going to hit a time anytime soon where they're going to be that ready to fight and push. They need the mech on Chen more than anything.
Hanskin did scout out Loda, but both teams eyeing each other across the way. The ping comes out from S4. Maybe saying Bulldog can assist. Does have the Nature's Wrath ready. A little IO. The easiest target to take down here right now.
Yep. And Chessie, level 8, has got double forward spirit, so anytime S4 kind of leaves this mid lane, that mid tier 1 tower will take a lot of damage. It's full HP for now, but that's... I mean, S4, when he has left right now, they're leaving EGM, but I imagine that's something Complexity will look to start punishing.
So what's the timing here for Alliance? You know, last game it looked like Complexity was more of the timing-based draft, the push-centric lineup. Complexity, they've got the IO, the hardest carry in the game, likely, in the Sven. And they're farming well. Is this it? It looks like Alliance say, now's our chance.
Yeah, this is more like a pick off and push kind of strategy for now for Alliance. They can't just 5-man fight into the Darkseer mech. Like, the mech advantage goes Complexity's way. They've also gone for 3 early points in Vacuum. You often see at least 2 in Surge, but Swindles is actually in a pretty good position to team fight right now. So for Alliance, if they can get pickoffs with smokes and take tier 1 towers, that's what the plan right now. And then once they get mech, then they can group up and take play more objective-based Dota.
Bulldog cutting a path through the trees here, and Limp is going to throw out a stun. They quickly relocate out.
Good save play.
They're going to sacrifice the IO, but that'll be the extent of the damage here.
An IO for a tier 1 tower. Complexity pressuring bottom.
Well worth it. As well as a smoke commitment here from Alliance.
Yep.
Hanskin, he ain't going anywhere, buddy, but it was a noble sacrifice for the greater good.
Absolutely. Swindle not lasting the tower for whatever weird reason. Just Swindle King things, you know, he's like, I'm just gonna help him out a bit.
Is it too early to call that BM?
Yeah,
BM like... not last hitting tower plays.
Absolutely.
He's the king for a reason.
We'll go with that. It was a bug, LD. He'll take one out of the moon box.
That was somewhat believable the first time, not so much the second here. But elsewhere, off in the Radiant Jungle, aggression as S4 gets clipped by a Magnetize. There's a quick roll away from Z-Freak. But the real defense comes in the top lane where Swindle's already on the rotation. And I mean, you mentioned maxing the Vacuum out first. He's going to have the Blink soon. Yeah. 1,650 gold. So we look at the potential for that magical combo. The Vacuum into a Deafening Blast Meteor with the Sven stun and the Cleave over the top. Maybe a Magnetize getting dropped. If Complexity hit that combo, Alliance are going to get exploded.
And that's where scouting and vision becomes key. Bulldog actually scouts out Swindle, keeping the tier 3 tower there with Treants. Sending out Treants, having good ward vision up to spot those Darkseer initiations is going to become a very key factor for the Alliance draft overall. So we'll see what Alliance look to do. I think really at all costs they have to avoid any big 5v5 engagement. This is a time to use those smokes, find pickoffs, try and get these maybe tier 1, like a tier 1 tower at bottom. You could make it a lot harder for Complexity to go for Roshan without that tier 1 bottom tower. They also just want to set up for aggression in the dire jungle. That one ward expiring now really limits Alliance's options out. They haven't really got much in the way of vision up on the map.
Well, as for the Alliance side, Ake, a much slower mech timing for him. But he is going to be working towards it likely. Up to 1,500 gold EGM, just cracked level 6, so has access to the spell steal. Some big grabs here, potentially. The Vacuum, the level 2 wall now. Potentially...
Yep.
I guess those are the main ones. Maybe one of Invoker spells after that.
I think Alliance really there's like one of 2 approaches they can take. They either need to be contesting this bottom lane, the tier 1 tower, and the Ancients area, because Sven with Helm of the Dominator is going to be stacking those dire Ancients, or they contest the dire jungle. They can't give Complexity the dire jungle farm and the Ancients farm. Otherwise, I think they just lose. They're already the 3 cores on Complexity are out farming their counterparts, and I think it's just going to get worse unless Alliance applies some aggression.
Well, the aggression comes in the bottom lane for them, but at the same time, Complexity, they can defend and attack in a single moment, courtesy of the IO. Relocate online, Limp is going to work on the tower here. Swindles in position, he's got the Blink Dagger, has not been scouted yet by the Radiant side, but they're sitting rather far back. This could be a huge opportunity. Invoker's coming in, Blade Fury back, now, yeah. S4 looking to run, Swindles, aggressive move forward, he gets stunned off the back, can they lock him down and finish him off? Relocate coming from behind, they're going to stun EGM, Swindles back into the wall, he's caught 2, Omni slams through, but over the top comes Z-Freak rolling forward, and Sven is angry, out for blood. Can he start getting that cleave damage off so far? Rubik down, the trade is the Earthman, and now the combo! Beautiful stuff by Chessie, blasting Alliance and forcing them back. Bulldog arriving though, and trying to finish off Chessie. The Chen creeps have been ignored. They're doing a lot of work here. 3 down the other way. Somehow through it all, S4's gonna survive. They lost Hanskin, and it might be a 5th. Limp trying to backtrack, but again, Boda with the Blade Fury dodge, avoiding the Stormbolt and a TP forward. Alliance, while they may have been behind in terms of the numbers, they've outfought Complexity here. They will win the fight, they'll get the tower, and they never even took much damage on that tier 1 top. Pretty catastrophic losses for the Complexity side.
S4 is just the master of the rune. That entire fight, he had an arcane rune. He has such low
bottom lane still
cooldown
moving on Bulldog. He wanted to finish off the tower. He got rolled on, then kicked back, but they can't do enough damage here. Loda even spinning again. The Sprout's gonna prevent Z-Freak from juking. Loda might kill him off as well. A wild smoke gets popped and Limb might go down, rolling to the south. Complexity are crumbling in every direction. Can Z-Freak even make it out? He's got no TP. He TP'd in bottom. Alliance should know it too, and they're hunting for him. Bulldog looking to exterminate the Earth Spirit. He gets that kill as well. Make it 7 kills in a row over the course of that exchange. And now S4 with a double damage rune to push the tower.
He goes like from having key haste runes to having a key arcane rune. Actually, I think without an arcane rune, Alliance maybe actually lose that fight. The lower cooldown on Breathe Fire, the lower mana cost meant he just got more Breathe Fires and more stuns off. He used multiple stuns, and DK is a hero with a lot of mana problems, but Arcane Rune completely negated them, and then he comes back with a DD Rune to push towers, get a couple of kills there. S4 not just the haste rune, the rune master in general.
He got the tower denied, but was it worth it? Surged out by Swindles, kept alive. Z-Freak looking to move in. Limb comes from behind, together with Handskin, but they're both fairly squishy, especially Handskin. Nice Stephanie Blast, the Magnetize going. Z-Freak giving them that extra firepower. Handskin, will he make it back? Just barely relocates out to safety, and now a Stormbolt. It'll lock down EGM towards the river. He heads on in, looking for an escape, has a lift available, hanging onto it for now, but the roll forward from Z-Freak. He'll get stunned by the drop. Swindles continues pursuit. Looks like they'll be able to burn down the little Rubik, trying to survive through it all. He can't. Swindles will blink in, and one last karate chop together with Limb.
Jesse missed.
Salvages a little, but they've lost another. Complexity just can't get clean counter kills.
Yep. Chessie was chasing down the Chen there, knowing he's like, oh, I can kill this Chen, but he chased for too long, and the T1 mid tower just gave Alliance a counter gank opportunity, and losing the Invoker there kind of negates a lot of what Complexity got out of that return counter gank.
It was a dead even game before the 7 kills. That graph shot up so much for Alliance that 2-for-1 losing an Invoker gave them 1200 back the other way. But they might be losing some here. Z-Freak rolling out, but it's not the longest roll, and EGM's in position here to potentially lift him, does get the vision, pulls it back. Z-Freak punished again. Complexity hemorrhaging at this point.
Yeah, kill after kill,
but they are getting the Ancient stack now, so that at least not stolen by Alliance. Limp is accelerating this farm, and man, they're gonna need this gold.
Yeah, and a lot of it goes back to kind of what I talked about. Alliance needed to apply aggression then, there, and now, because otherwise they're gonna lose the farm battle with how fast a hero like Sven can farm. He's got his Ancients, he's got his own jungle. He's gonna take much better advantage of the map and the farm accessible to him. Similarly, Chessie with the Midas, Alliance cannot play a farm game, and they recognize it. They push down the bottom lane, win a fight, take 2 towers, and put themselves in a great position for success. Bulldog's Aghanim Scepter coming up soon.
I mean, going back to what started it all, that huge team fight bottom. Swindles has Blink, he's got level 2 wall, max vacuum, and it looks like Alliance are 5-man in a tower. It's understandable that he wants to take the fight, but Invoker wasn't in position. Alliance started backing off right when he chased in. It feels like they just got a bit overeager, and had they been either more patient or had Alliance stuck around, then it could have worked, but it's not
that clean initiation where typically like a good Dark initiation, you see the instant blink, vacuum wall, everything comes like all in the span of like half a second. With him, he blinks in, he walks a little bit, then he gets stunned, then after the stun he has to kind of surge himself in, look for it. Eventually he gets a good vacuum wall, but it's not that instant surprise factor followed up by the Sven Aya relocate in cleanup. It was just kind of a bit lacking kind of coordination from the Complexity side.
It wasn't burst damage either. The Chen gets off his heal there, he's able to send heroes back, and they didn't immediately delete a hero from the fight. Well, Complexity, I imagine right now the call is let's settle down. We had a couple of bad exchanges, but we're still farming really well. We've probably got the better late game, or at least are on par with Alliance. We don't need to try to win this game now. We've got the option to take it late.
Yeah,
it seems that's the call.
Well, Alliance, they're gonna immediately smoke back up. There was a Dire Ward very close to it. I'm not sure if that one quite was in range to spot it out.
It looks like they might have just missed, but Complexity also at the same time have great deep wards of their own anyway, and all they're seeing is Boldag bottom. So whether or not they actually saw the smoke, they're definitely suspicious. They'll go for the smoke of their own. Also not scouted who's going to get the high ground advantage. It's S4 in front with the BKB. They don't really have a counter to this aside from Chain Stun, but Well, both smokes gonna break in vision of each other, so S4, the jig is up.
And this kind of standoff situation is always going to look pretty good for Alliance when you can have Bulldog elsewhere on the map, bombing, pushing out lanes. Complexity can kind of do the same with the IO relocate, but if you're going to be relocating in with the IO, it means you're not going to, after that, if the fight drags on longer than 10 seconds, IO's gone. So Complexity have to be very careful about how they look to take these fights.
Swindles.
Off on his own.
Yeah, he's feeling very confident here. Knows has a
Take that DD away from S4. Like, no more runes for him, please.
It did come at a nice moment, and well, for Alliance, they are also going for farming items of their own. Loda grabs the Battle Fury. Bulldog did go back for the Ags. He's had it for a couple minutes now. And S4, the key initiator for the team, well, with the BKB up, now he maybe builds towards some damage items of his own.
Oh, Loda! Sunstrike! Oh! The lane ward!
And you know what's great is they've got 2 sentries here to try and prevent that vision.
Oh, he was farming Ancients. He realized, oh, I don't have enough HP. My healing ward's on cooldown. Let's go farm some neutrals because 20 seconds from now I have a healing ward. Then I can kill these Ancients. Nope. Chessie says, I see you. You're dead. And
Crucial kill.
Roshan too. Oh my gosh.
No buyback up. This could be
MVP
huge.
ward. Yeah, we talked about adding Satus to the MVP votes. We need to add Observer wards there. That ward right there.
Pimpin'. And now they de-ward it, but the damage is already done. And it looks like Alliance still want to fight this one anyway. Roche is low, Complexity down in the pit.
This is just
Are they
not
actually
doable.
fighting
I don't
it?
think
S4
so.
maybe trying to find heroes on the way out, but
Yeah.
Alliance, the second guessing that movement, will blow a smoke and
again,
not commit.
S4 is, like you say, trying to catch a hero on the retreat. He has a DD rune and a Nature's Prophet ultimate to back him up, so
He can blow up this IO for sure. Hanskin's down in the pit.
there's a lot of heroes on this map. I mean, Hanskin doesn't even need the backup.
Hanskin, a poor, unfortunate soul. And dead.
And Alliance can actually now apply pressure. Despite Complexity having Aegis, you've taken IO out of the picture. You've got all your kind of key items and levels. You've got, I mean, Battle Fury, a bombing item, but
Roll in
also a good
bottom lane.
DPS item.
Z-Freak, big dive. He got the kickoff on the Bulldog. Magnetize to follow up. Then they drag him back towards the wall. Z-Freak and Swindles, the brothers finding kills, but they are losing their mid tower at the same moment.
But very important pickoff, because otherwise this mid push is going to be very dangerous.
Loda could be in trouble here. Stormbolt from the high ground. Limp doesn't have a God Strength though. There's the kick. Can't get off the Omni. Wouldn't matter anyway. Complexity striking right back here.
Really just great movements around the map.
What a brawl this game has been. Look at that crash. Up and down.
Like Alliance, that push mid is a push that could threaten high ground or have a very successful team fight. And I think Complexity recognize that, and that's why they go for the Nature's Prophet who's alone at bottom lane, and then they can come back and take a 5v4.
DD rune's gonna start it off. There's a stun onto S4, but the chain nukes from Ake might be enough to kill off Limp. Hanskin there has the relocate, gets up the Stormbolt. Sunstreak coming through. S4 hanging on to the BKB, and very tanky at that. They don't quite have the firepower to finish him off. Chessie hanging on to the Deafening Blast. Doesn't have the Meteor invoked for 5 seconds here. This is dangerous to stick around if you're Complexity, but by golly, they want to. Now the back, the Deafening Blast follow-up. EGM gets cleaved through. S4 driven back. Pop that BKB, they say. We dare you, and finally he has to. Turns with the Breathe Fire, but the tower down. A buyback from the Rubik. EGM, big commitment to try and hold and turn this. Chessie has a Yule Scepter. They might go back in. Ake's out a bit too far, or maybe it's S4 they want. They're going to find the Dragonite. Rogue on Dragon. Who will prevail? It's the Meteor that crashes through, but S4, tanky as all hell, just won't go down easy. Now Z-Freak moving in, a fresh Magnetize ready. Loda's got the Omni. He moves onto Limp, but with the overcharge, they can't do enough damage. Everyone disengages, but a wasted buyback thus far from EGM.
Wow, both teams with incredible
get out
sustain
cleanly
there.
after that.
Like IO keeping that Sven alive. The amount of healing that Sven received that team fight was just incredible, keeping him alive on the front lines. And very, very good fight there for Complexity. Taking the towers, buybacks being used, Swindle just with some... That was the initiation. He didn't even have the wall there to back up the vacuum, but it was just that instant blink vacuum followed up by the Deafening Blast. That's what you need. These just like instinctive plays where you just go. When you use your blink, you have to already be ready to cast your vacuum. You can't be thinking blink and then assess the situation, then decide your vacuum. You've just got to go for it. And
I do want to point out, Lip had an Ogre Frost Mage on him in that fight, so he's already got 25 armor. With Warcry He's sitting on 45 armor before the overcharge damage reduction.
And that's where Loda like
He
just
is
doesn't want to
actually
Omni Slash.
unkillable.
He's often like Loda is in range, could Omni Slash the Sven, but he probably just realizes like, what's it actually going to do? He'd much rather try and find like an IO or an Invoker behind.
They need to kill the IO or nuke him down, but they're a bit light on the nuke damage. It's much more of a physical damage lineup, at least at this point.
Yep. Well, Alliance, they've always got a plan B, and it's plan Bulldog here with the Aghanim Scepter into Octarine
Top
Core.
lane, they're making the move in. S4's going to engage, has the Blink Dagger. Handskin going to get caught out. They're going to sack the IO, and now S4 chases forward. Another stun up in 3 second time. Limp might need some help, but that Ogre Frost Mage keeping him in fighting shape. 25 armor. Loda with the Omni Slash. He's going to pop the Warcry. 45 armor. Of course, S4 has a haster to continue chasing, but Swindles has the Shivas to usher him back. So they do settle for an IO kill, while Chessie gonna push out the mid lane here.
Yeah, this Blink Dagger very crucial for Alliance. At this stage, they just need that more reliable initiation.
S4 already moving on
done.
mid, but Z-Freak's there to greet him. Gets eyes on him, the Blink stun to initiate. Ake coming into position, the Chen army's there. Decent stun from Z-Freak, but Bulldog's gonna arrive here. Has the Tornado ready, no, cancels the TP. Opts to stay in the top lane and finish off the tower. And now Invoker, Aghanim's complete. I was wondering where the gold was, but now we have our answer.
He's got Aegis as well, not for much longer there, so I think that's the big reason why Alliance don't even try and chase for that kill, but the big scary point I think is going to be Limp's BKB, which he's actually only 200 gold away from. He's got 2 components on the Courier, and he's going to hit BKB. They've got the Veil on Earth Spirit, and the Aghanim's were freshly picked up for Invoker. The only thing they're going to be missing is the Aegis, which is about to expire, but even without Aegis, Complexity just got a whole new line of items, which are going to be very problematic for Alliance.
Towers not looking so hot for Complexity. They've lost them all. You're up against Prophet, Juggernaut, Dragon Knight, and Chen, a great pushing draft, but if Complexity makes mistakes, if they get caught without buyback, there's that potential for Alliance to instantly move on to a tier 3 tower, potentially a Rax, whereas for the Complexity side, there's a tier 2 in every lane, and even a tier 1 still at bottom. Or top lane, I should say.
Probably looking at a longish game here, just because of how much pressure Bulldog can continually apply, how much split push he can use to prevent Complexity from being able to just team fight, go for this 5-man push, team fight, and it's going to be very annoying to deal with. They haven't got the best answers for it. They're going to need multiple boots of travel on heroes like Sven, the Invoker, maybe even the Darkseer. They've got Relocate, but I don't think that's going to be enough. They need to keep the lanes pushed out. And Nature's Prophet, the best hero to prevent that.
S4 hiding off in the mid lane. He's going to show himself with the Breathe Fire, and it's right while there's smoke, but they assume there's someone behind him. They're like, there's no way this guy's on his own.
Guys.
He's got a BKB, and instead they're going to find the Chen, who actually was in the neighborhood. The combo just destroys Ake, melts him down, and sends the Holy Knight packing back to heaven where he belongs.
They're actually in a position where they can group up now towards this top lane, but Alliance, good news for them is they're pushing and reaching the Dire base faster than Complexity
and there's
theirs.
a double damage rune again on S4. This push is coming hard and it's coming fast. And the kick through.
There's no TPs on Complexity. They're going to have to rely on Relocate and the surge back from Darkseer.
He's got the Blink Shivas though. This is a big combo. They're going to deploy the Veil. Swindles driving forward. He is going to manage the back, but it's only on Loda. Now Limp arriving. Already popped the BKB. Can he bring him down in time? No, he gets the TP out. It looks like EGM will be the sacrifice here. Stormbolt, heavy commitment just for that. But they get the Rubik kill. They are going to find the IO on the Relocate back to the top lane though. His Handskin will be finished off. So in the end, Alliance, they do force out a very precious 10-second BKB charge from Limp, and they trade 1-for-1 on the supports.
They even get good damage into the tier 3 tower, so I think a fine trade for Alliance there. As we'll see them attempt to go for the Chen army in the mid lane, but Alliance's ability to keep lanes pushed out, and it's not just the Nature's Prophet. Chen actually becomes like the kind of a split pusher in the mid game who can split push using the creep army at no risk to any hero's life. So you send the creep army to a lane, if they get engaged, you just bring them back into yourself. Maybe the Sven can pop his ulti and just kill him off, which is kind of maybe a suitable loss in some situations, but this game gets very tricky for Complexity because of the fact they've lost so many towers and have to deal with this split push.
Oh, they are chasing though. This hate onto Ake, the combo again. He just doesn't stand a chance. Crushed beneath the meatball. The sheer weight compacting him into the earth.
Again, we'll see them try and group up, go for this push, but quickly again, I imagine we'll see Swindles and Complexity realize there's split push happening. Top lane, Loda's already there in position, and Bulldog, he can be there at a moment's notice.
And you can tell Alliance, they're not really looking for the fights right now. They're looking for the split push. Loda up top. It is S4 down bottom, albeit the Dragon Knight a bit on the slow end. And Bulldog ready for the TP in at any moment. Completes the Octarine. Enter rat mode. Alliance, they do it better than anyone else in the business.
Oh.
Mid lane, Bulldog, oh, he's looking for a courier.
He knows where he saw it deliver some items, but
Oh, he's even hunting for it further with the Sprout there.
Complexity wary of his tricks.
They did get a deep ward down here while that was going on. Maybe able to set up for a future kill with it. But you got to admire the way Alliance are able to spread the map, even when it feels like Complexity are much stronger in the fights. They still keep on eking out their farm. They're not giving up too many kills. Only a Chen here or there who, I mean, let's be honest, at this point, Ake is a very hard support.
I'd love to see Limp just pick up a moonshot here. I think going for the AC is just unnecessarily defensive. Yeah, the item gives you some attack speed, some ability to push, but the problem is being able to catch and just kill heroes quickly. I mean, even killing off Loda, when you take that bottom lane, if he hit a moonshot, Loda just dies during the Blade Fury TP. He's not dying when he's got this IO Sing behind him. So I think just going for pure DPS mode is going to be the best answer here for Lim.
Yeah, he picks up the Hyperstone, likely Assault Cuirass, possible Moon Shards. And if he keeps that cross armor creep, maybe he doesn't really need the armor.
Yeah.
But either way, will amplify his damage output. We're going to see a gem grab now by the Earth Spirit of Z-Freak.
The one annoying thing for him is always going to be, saw it with our TD spend, dealing with Sprout. He's got no items to get out of the Sprout. It's just the nature of Sven. When you get this farm, he's going to have to entirely rely on his teammates.
Well, that's where Swindles comes in handy with his Quelling Blade and his vacuum, potentially.
Oh, Bulldog, we all love you. And he's pushing and chipping away at this bottom tier 3 tower, keeping Complexity on the back foot.
Radiant's top tower.
I think Complexity, it's not, these aggro wards they have, they actually need wards like near, they need wards to catch out the heroes who are split pushing. They need wards around their own base.
Roche is up, but a well-placed, dominated range creep is going to scout Alliance walking into the pit. So it won't be a free Roshan. There will at least be a chance to move towards it for Complexity. But as the lanes keep on getting pushed out, it's difficult to control that area of the map.
Yeah, absolutely. So
look how careful they're being with this courier. It's just hugging the northern tree line. They're showing Bulldog the respect he deserves.
And see how much the two teams prioritize Roshan as a major objectives. For Complexity, even with Aegis, like they still suffer from the same problems that we're seeing now. They can't really deal too well with the split push, or they've got to find an opportunity where they're going down a lane and there's no threat to their other side lanes. If Alliance get an Aegis though, maybe it sets them up to make some riskier moves forward.
Yeah, another cheap aura here being grabbed. Ake with the Vlad's pickup will definitely be nice versus the Sven and his physical damage output. And as the game slows down a bit, do you feel like either team has a clear late game advantage? Nobody's lost Rax yet. In terms of gold and experience Complexity with I'd say a modest lead, 7,500 gold, 10,000 experience. Is that enough?
Complexity have the better late game draft in a team fight scenario. Alliance, they don't team fight in the late game. Not with Bulldog's Nature's Prophet. And it's going to come down to execution, LD. I don't think you can just say one team's got the straight up better draft. It comes down to Alliance having their best kind of late game playstyle like opportunities for them. The Bulldog Nature's Prophet. For Complexity, it's going to be a matter of how well they can find the pickoffs, catch out heroes on the map, and they've got relocate, so they've got a pretty okay way of getting back consistently, trying to catch, like they just have to send one hero to try and find Bulldog, and then they can have the relocate in to follow up and secure the pickoffs.
Oh, there's the Assault Cuirass now. Limp continuing to accelerate his farm, and he might run into Loda. Actually blinks away from the IO of Hanskin, who's getting it instantly. Omni Slash. Oh, but that Glimmer Cape almost enough to save him. Wow. Not quite in the end.
That
bit unfortunate.
Vision, yeah.
Just the second that Limp blinks away, the Juggernaut is there. Good punish by Alliance.
And even just having, I think without that ward, maybe wouldn't have had vision of the IO, but not a. It's definitely a nice skill for Alliance. Gives them a little freedom to not worry about the relocate. They can show on the map pushing a bit better. But relocate, one of those just split pushes nightmares, and that's where we're not really seeing Bulldog do so as much.
They're smoking. They don't have an Omni Slash. They don't have a rune on S4 for once. But Alliance still feeling like with the 4v5, they might have the edge. Complexity blinking away. Load up on the high ground. He's going to get revealed now. Have they scouted him out yet? There's the spell steal. And he grabs the war cry. Very nice to have against the Sven.
Yep. I mean, it's funny because like his ultimate's the one spell you really don't want to steal as a Rubik. Any of the other two spells is fine. Even a level 1 stun is still a 2-second duration stun.
For Complexity, they just walk right into the pit. They've got Hanskin back now. Roshan up. Alacrity thrown onto the big rogue knight. And a feeble Satyr at this stage, not the threat it was early last game. Tries to usher them away, but this will be what looks like a totally free, uncontested Roshan. So, an Aegis now for Chessie. Maybe tried to last steal it, the Roshan kill, but that Satyr can't even get that. Dire get the kill as well.
Yeah, Alliance not in fighting shape. Do not want to be taking Complexity head on, and even just a couple of heroes holding on, like S4 holding onto a lot of gold, picks up a Hyperstone now. Assault Cuirass isn't there.
He's got an invis. Swindles is moving on top. Chessie hunting. He's going to find Bulldog, trying to TP out. Sunstrike, the combo comes through. Bulldog in a lot of danger. Got the Blink Dagger, but won't be allowed to use it. They vacuum it back in. It's a dog pile. 4 heroes. In fact, Z-Freak was even in the neighborhood. So call it a full 5-man hate train.
Yep.
And they ram it straight at Bulldog.
And you can, I mean, Bulldog knows what the game plan is. That's why he goes for that Blink Dagger. So in theory, he sees the relocate coming in, he can blink into the trees or at least blink away from it, but he's already taken damage and being caught out by Complexity in that situation. And this is a huge pickup because you don't have to worry about the split push unless Loda can find his way deep into a lane. Ideally, Loda wants to be top lane right now, but he's not there. He doesn't have a TP as well, so he can't even make a beeline towards top without a teleport. And Complexity, 30 seconds to not worry about Bulldog may mean that they can find a fight or at least take it something like a T2 tower at bottom. Finally, like it feels like Complexity have been the stronger team for a while draft-wise, but they're unable to push, unable to take objectives.
I do want to point out Bulldog managed to spend his gold there as he died, got the Perseverance, so didn't really lose anything aside from farming opportunity. So, are we seeing the full-on refresher build here?
Or Lincoln's? Lincoln, there's not the catches.
It's
only if there's
as well, right?
exactly. The catch is not single target. So yeah, this is going to be a refresher coming out from Bulldog. He wants the ultimate rat build here, as we'll see Ags, Refresher, Octarine. I can only imagine.
Is there anything worth lotusing off, or not really?
Particularly. There's no Hex yet. Like eventually we will see Hexes on heroes like Darkseer as well as Invoker. So
these friggin' Treants, if you're Complexity, you've just got to be clawing your hair out right now. But they had a reprieve, right? With Bulldog dead, they can actually get the lanes pushed out, but he wastes no time in shoving this top lane right back in.
They didn't even get the tier 2 bottom tower. They do a bit of damage to it, but they can't even fully bring it down.
Gotta be frustrating.
Yes.
How do you break the contain? They got 1 pick on Bulldog.
They just keep looking. At this point in your Complexity, you're saying we can never actually push or group up and try and take their high ground unless we found kills on Bulldog. So they've got to set up more wards like in their own jungle, which is kind of counterintuitive to when you're the team who's ahead, winning to set up wards defensively in your own jungle. But they're kind of they're the rat traps. They're what you're using to try and catch out the split pushes, even when be it Bulldog, be it Loda, be it even the annoying chain creeps. They've got to deal with this first and foremost, and they're going to itemize to catch out split push. You've got Limp likely to pick up something like a Boots of Travel, Swindles to build a Hex.
You can see them even painting out the hill here. Z-Freak, you mentioned rat traps, that's one that he's just prepped in the top lane. And I imagine we're going to see more, maybe the Blink Hex on the Darkseer will be next, as Z-Freak actually rolling forward. Trying to isolate Loda, Swindle's still haunting him, but Loda safely ensconced in the trees away from that dangerous hill.
And he's going to actually go into the Manta style now for the Jug, going to see it disassemble onto SMY, so really wanting to have that
every bit of chip damage, like safe just tower poking.
And even like a Z-Freak silence can just ruin him, so.
And he comes right back out. Peekaboo!
It's where level 2 Boots of Travel could become very valuable, but no cancel. No way to cancel.
And unless they get an Abyssal Blade on Limp, which isn't normally a spend item, at least not at this stage.
Yeah, it's
if ever.
Maybe you consider something as crazy as that, but it's more than the Nature's Prophet's the more annoying split pusher. That's just like a bit of, oh, we're gonna creep skip and like Loda.
Oh, they find Z-Freak. He was actually rolling forward, looking to maybe play a ward, but he's the gem carrier. This is costly. Oh, great relocate out there. So they do save the gem. They may lose Handskin.
Can Limp get there in time? Limp's nearby.
Swindles is also somewhat in position. It seems like they're debating it. But right at this moment, as Soul Karis is going to be completed, they want to fight. Limp's ready to rock and roll. Comes in, looks for the cleave. He's chewing through it. 4. Can he finish off the Dragon Knight? The Shiva's getting popped. A roll in. The whole Complexity gang is here. And they've got Bulldog on the run. He tries to make his way out of this one, but he gets chopped to bits. And now Ake could be next. Ake backing off and trying to survive. He'll go down. Bulldog TPing away to the bottom lane. He actually fought back just to shove these lanes out, but the mid lane's exposed, and I'm not sure bo3 can do it quickly enough. Limp, with the DD rune still active, the completed
He even has
bow charge
BKB.
as well.
He didn't
is
have the
going right
BKB.
in.
He can actually take a subsequent fight. They could
Bottom
go for the
lane,
throne.
bottom lane as well. Chelsea's gonna fight bo3, who just fought back. This could be a dieback of bo3. There's the Deafening Blast up to the cliff, roasts him to bits, and down he goes again. No profit for
15
80.
seconds, and Invoker can TP back in. The boots of travel off Doreen just allows him to move around the map so quickly, and Complexity are in prime position to take multiple lanes of Rex, possibly go for the throne here.
Well, not many people gave them a chance at this major, let alone on the main stage against Alliance, but right now, they have beaten the crap out of their fellow Swedes. And they will take 2 full lanes here. Chessie, does he move on to the throne? They know Bulldog doesn't have buyback, but if they want to be safe, they can either back off or look for the Megas. And it seems Complexity make the call. Safety first.
Well, Swindle's asked for it. He said the fans, they want a Game 3 LD. We casters, it's always fun when you have a Game 3, but right now, it's Complexity just playing their way into it. They're playing amazingly against what is one of the best teams in the world right now. Alliance haven't made mistakes this game particularly. They are playing some good Dota here. They're playing Alliance Dota, but it seems Complexity, at least as far as Game 2 goes, have an answer.
Loda, this is dangerous. Does have the buyback, and in fact, reinforcements are coming in. EGM and Ake together, but Z-Freak just sitting, waiting for his opening. They might look to take this. Swindle surging forward through the river. There's the roll in, right while Loda's shopping.
He's got a man down.
No, it's Sanch hits the deck, but more importantly, the hero's gonna go down. 80 seconds on the sidelines, and they're not done yet. Chessie explodes another, destroying EGM over towards the Ancients.
No split push to worry about. They may be going straight for the throne. It looks like that is the plan. That's the call.
And they actually saw S4 up top, so they know even Dragon Knight's not home. It's straight onto the throne. Limp just hammering away at tier 4s here. S4 with the stalling tactics. The Omni Slash completely futile. Only onto the Force Spirit from Loda. I'm the real man.
There's no IO to sustain. It's a bit of a worry.
He's fairly low though. As S4 works on it, might be able to force this Ven back. He will do so. They hold the line, but it's another buyback on another core hero. Complexity knocking on Alliance's door, ready to kick it in and punch this to a Game 3. One more mistake, be it from Loda, be it from Bulldog, and it's likely all over.
Yeah, and luckily for Alliance, there was no IO there to help back up the Sven as he hit the towers and got engaged on, so he took a lot of damage, but even so, Complexity still, they're the ones in control right now. They're going to push down this bottom lane. The last lane of Rax does still have a T2 tower deeper up the lane to protect it.
Oh, look at this. You know, we were talking about this earlier during a break around the panel. The Earth Spirit eggs, it got nerfed. We weren't really seeing the item anyway very much, and by the time we did, usually Earth Spirit's team was already winning very heavily, but we're gonna see it now. Good luck killing the Sven when you've got this item as well as the IO, and you better be careful if you're any of these Alliance heroes.
Well, that's the thing. You still get that geomagnetic grip onto teammates. While the Enchant Remnant has that tiny little cast range, being able to just save teammates, pull them out of trouble. Like, you could have pulled the Sven away from that T4 tower just to let him reposition and go for a blink engage there. So, very useful tool to have on the side of the Earth Spirit. And
Complexity are going to slow things.
Refresher Invoker, okay. This is the late game secured for Complexity. This is where they have the much better late game lineup unless they get split push down.
I do want to point out there are 0 buybacks available in this game right now. They have spent all their gold.
They've got to, yeah, like you say, they've got to wait for some buybacks here. They're close to a couple. Darkseer Sven within 100 gold, Aya within 100 gold, so it's definitely the plan to farm buybacks before they go for any kind of risky plays here.
Yeah, and
Alliance obviously not wary of they're probably just expecting there to be buybacks, so they're not going to go for any desperate plays right now.
Complexity starting to cinch the noose. They'll push in the bottom lane now. Sven, pretty much max, could maybe replace this on Yasha, but essentially Limp as big as he's going to get. This is about as late game of an Invoker build as you'll see, aside from maybe getting a Scythe device. Z-Freak, very farmed as well, and even Mr. Swindles, double boots for him.
Yep.
So he is mobile with the boots of travel as well.
Complexity go from no buybacks to 4 buybacks. IO IO's got buyback now as well. So they've got 4 buybacks, and including a buyback with relocate, they've got boots of travel. on a couple of heroes so they can instantly come back into the fight.
And there's no split push really at all. Just the top lane slowly moving out. Mid lane's at the river, but Limp wastes no time in forcing the issue. He's sprouted and slowed down. Chessie blinking forward engages. They get a Dragon Knight initiation, but Limp quickly pulled back. Now a Sunstrike mid Deafening Blast Meteor combo doesn't really do much at all, but it does force out a BKB on S4. Now that's down. Still the tether keeping him healthy. Limp is essentially gone right now. He just will die, and now the second Deafening Blast. Another Meteor from Complexity rushing in, forcing them back. The Omni Slash committed, yet to get a kill. They've lost the Dom. No buyback for him. That's the Megas, and that's GG. Complexity, it may have been heavy underdogs, but they've got Alliance on the ropes now, and we are going to see what everybody wanted, what they were begging for, a Game 3.
And this has been a true underdog story. Complexity, the one team left who started in that round 1 lower bracket. We saw last major OG make the run, and right now Complexity looking to make a name for themselves. They still got Game 3 against a team like Alliance, so it's still such a big uphill climb for them. An Alliance, a team who's been in these kind of positions before, but what a fantastic game of Dota 2 LD.
We're going to have a chance for the panel to break it down more fully, but very quick thoughts from you, Gods. Anything you would have liked to see differently